I think the hardest part of probability is it's not that you don't know how to do it. You don't know the pieces that go with it. And the biggest thing that you don't know is what's in a deck of cards. Okay. So here's a deck of cards. How many total cards do we have in a deck?
52.
52 total. So if you want to put somebody somewhere on here, 52 total. Jokers do not count in math probability. We do not deal with jokers.
Dang it.
I should have asked for it again.
There are no jokers.
Batman killed them all.
Batman killed them off.
Yeah.
The goat.
Okay. So we've got 52 total. Okay. What colors are the cards in a deck?
Black and red.
Red and black. How many of each?
I don't know.
If I have, hold on, think about it. If I have 52 cards, I've got red cards and black cards.
Wow.
So we split it in half, which means there's 26 of each.
Oh, that's what you're
52 total. That means 26 black and 26 red. Okay, 26 black and 26 red. The black cards are 2 suits. What suits are black? Spades
And
club.
yeah.
Clubs. Good. Spades and clubs. So black splits into spades and clubs. How many spades and clubs do I have? If there's 26 black and they're split into spades and clubs,
13.
13 of each. Okay, I've got 26 red. What suits are red?
Diamond.
Diamonds and hearts. And 13 and 13 of each of these.
Diamond. Remember it like this.
Okay, your 13 cards are ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Jack, queen, king. Okay, we have things called face cards.
Got king and queen.
King, queen, and
Jack.
jack. King, queen, and jack. Okay, now that we've broken this down, you should have a yellow sheet that says Deck of Cards Quiz. Take a couple of minutes and try to see if you can answer these cards. Yeah, answer these cards. Answer these questions about a deck of cards. Okay? See if you can answer what it's asking, and we will go over it. It should say Deck of Cards Quiz. It should be a little half sheet. It should be a little half sheet. That one. Their projects look awesome.
Some of ours.
Some of them look really good. This is Joseph and Josue's. Wow. You did really good. Oh my God. I'm impressed. Yeah, they did really good. Wow. I'm excited. Josue and Joseph.
Got it.
My only 3D project that was turned in, everybody else did 3D. Really? And they're the only ones that went above and beyond. I'm impressed with that. I'm impressed with Stephon turning his in like 2 weeks early.
What does that mean when it says overlap? What does it mean when it says overlap?
Share in common. So like, if you're looking at black cards and tens, how many tens are black cards?
Which one is red? If all queens are face cards, then why does it say how many queens and face cards overlap?
So how many of your queens are face cards? All of them, so 4.
How many cards are left?
Oh, no.
First.
I heard what 6'9" said. 6'9". I thought you were ready. He said, "If you're dead home."
Whoa.
They be
Go ahead and try it.
He said that jump 3 times. He said, "What?" He said, "If you're dead home."
We're gonna sound this mess.
How are you?
Try these. You all done?
It's hard.
It's hard.
Like the whole-
What do you mean by number 6?
Oh, no, I was just for us.
What's number 6 then?
Says how many clubs and tens overlap?
So how many tens are also close?
2.
How many aces at the blue?
Hey,
Yeah. Guys, when they're talking about how many overlap, how many cards share both things that they're talking about? Okay, so if it says how many clubs and tens overlap, how many tens are also a club?
I can smell the card.
Trippy Red said, "Where you
I
at?"
can smell the card. You know how the
Trippy
card
said,
is.
"Stay in
I
blue."
can smell it.
Well, you can't overlap
How
two
many
face
cards
cards.
greater than
Stay in
9?
blue.
High.
You said how many queens and face overlap?
Right, and plus his brother did.
That's what he meant by your dead
How
home.
many cards are greater than 9?
You overlap a face
They're
card.
also a face card.
No, it said it's not many cards and face cards overlap. It's not many cards. You can't overlap. He's not hard.
He really not, bro.
I didn't say
He just said he got clout. He's hard.
Hey, please understand, with probability, they're going to tell you whether they want you to count ace as a high card or ace as a low card as a 1. Because remember, aces can be counted as a 1 or an 11. If anybody's ever played blackjack before.
I wanna play goldfish.
I play poker.
I'm saying though, like this was just
Face. Man, give it up. You saw my thing. Girl, you know I'm at.
Gotta retire.
That's what the nigga said.
That's the one.
I just want to
Can you
take
help me with number 9?
What's his number 9 say? How many queens are also face cards?
But it's not overlapping though. That's not.
That's what that means. How many cards are queens and face cards? How many have both? There's 12 queens in the deck? 4.
I thought. Yeah.
Overlapping just means shares both things in common. But yes, that one's kind of like, okay, all queens are face cards, so why are you asking me that same thing? But there's people out there that don't understand that a queen's a face card.
Because they don't understand. I can't like put both of them in.
I swear to God, they want to get
Come on, man.
That's 26 out of 52.
We have one out.
So that's 8. That's, oh, yeah.
Ow.
I'm an intelligent black man. About time.
I thought you were white.
Yeah, I am. Trust me, I seen that motivational speech Kanye West did, and I'm officially white.
You're supposed to answer these questions.
I know.
Marlo's actually a chameleon. He's whatever.
You
he
answered
feels
one.
like.
In 10 minutes?
I don't know.
No.
Red, be red.
Look at the deck of cards I gave
Red.
you. Stop waiting for me to just give you answers. You're not doing any good for yourself.
Don't look at, I answered 3.
I'll be over here
There's
just
like
dancing, but not.
How many queens am I
All the racks, the mini.
Stop.
How many cards are there?
Why he put him to the drop like she dropped dead?
I think that's murder.
Say how many cards are less than 6?
I'm calling you.
Man, who did that?
Right.
Bye.
My name is Christian.
I wish I had.
Couple more minutes and I want to go over these.
I got another question.
How many 10 overlap?
I got another question.
You should do this for like.
How many tens are?
I got another question.
One,
Not Christian?
4.
Christian don't get taught quizzes because he's famous
How many tens?
in this class.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Who's your favorite CA?
I'm not saying you're not a favorite, but
Real
you ain't
Miss Smith.
special. You ain't above and beyond what everybody else has to do. in
I
here.
gotta be at least like top 5. Like, your favorite student.
You're still not above and beyond what everybody else has to do in here.
But
You do not get special treatment.
okay, but just answer my question. Am I top 5? Am I at least top 5?
Am I top 100?
Am I at least top like?
There ain't even 100 in here.
I'm talking about period. This period.
I'm top 5. I don't care. I
I'm
got
top
top
100. I don't care.
I'm still not even.
I'm top
of my
1.
mama's book.
both of them have.
Okay, let's start talking about these. Number 1, how many red cards are there?
26.
26. That's half your deck are red. How many aces are there?
4.
See, I know
What's an 8?
Okay. How many red aces are there? 2.
9.
How many clubs are there?
13.
13, honey.
How many tens are there?
4.
Oh my God.
How many clubs and tens overlap? 1. Okay, another way to look at this. If you look at your deck of cards, here's your clubs, here's your tens. How many overlap? Just 1. There's only 1 10 that is also a club. Okay, overlap just means they share the 2 in common. How many face cards are there? 12. That's all of your king, queen, jack of all suits. How many queens are there?
4.
How many queens and face cards overlap?
4.
4. All 4 of your queens are also face cards. How many cards are less than 6 when your aces are low?
5.
All of your cards less than 6. There should be 20.
20.
It says less than 6. That does not include 6. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or ace of each suit. Okay. Aces are low, so there are 20. How many even cards are there?
I think,
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco.
10.
Oh, I thought that's my fault.
What numbers are even?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
2, 4, 6, 8, and 10.
5 in each row. And how many
I told
rows
you
are
it's
there?
10. 25.
There should be 20. There are 4 of each number, and there are 5. I'm sorry.
Backwards. Yeah, 5 each. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, that thing.
Wouldn't
Okay.
that be 25 then? If you're doing
There's only 4 rows and there's 5. in
There's
each
4
row.
suits and 5 numbers that are even. Let's go with that way. There's 5 even numbers and 4 suits, so there are 20 of them.
That's about the beginning you did. I said 20 at the beginning. She just looked at me.
How many even cards are less than 6? How many even cards are less than 6?
So do you include 6?
No.
No,
It's
8.
there are 8. There's 4 4s and 4 2s. How many hearts are there?
13.
1300.
How many diamonds are there?
1300.
How many hearts and diamonds overlap?
0.
0. There are no hearts that are also diamonds. They do not overlap. How many spades are black?
13.
13. They're all black. How many spades are face cards? 3. How many cards are greater than 9 with ace high? So no, you do count the aces. It says ace is high. So now ace is an 11. So ace is beside the king. So above the 9s,
But now ace is considered 11 number.
20.
That's why I don't gamble.
there should be 20 as well.
That's why I don't
There
gamble.
are 4 10s, 4 jacks, 4 queens, 4 kings, and 4 aces.
4 aces.
Aces are high now. When they tell you aces are high, Ms. Blackwell just said, that means that they count as 11. They're above the king. Okay? They're above the king when aces are high.
Y'all don't play cards, do you?
This is why I do this, because as soon as we start probability and I throw out any questions about cards, they're like, huh?
I used to play.
I think we just need to start playing a game of solitaire every day when we come in as a warm-up. Like,
I used to play Uno. I was playing Uno last night.
I mean,
Uno's aren't,
Uno is not a.
it's
Yes,
not
it
these
is.
cards though.
I know, it was lit,
Yeah,
though.
Uno.
I mean,
We could play some Old Maid with these cards though.
No, let's play
It's like
some goldfish.
goldfish.
How many cards are greater than 9 with ace high and is also a face card?
20.
30.
They have to be a face card.
Wait.
23.
Oh, okay, wait.
No.
Okay, hold up. What are my face cards?
King, queen.
Jack.
King, queen, jack.
King.
How many of those are above 9? Is king, queen, and jack all above 9?
Yeah.
Yes. So how many cards do I have that are king, queen, jack? 12. Even though they said 10 doesn't have a face on it, it's not a face card. Okay. 10 is not a face card. And just because they said ace high to confuse you and make you think that ace is a face card, it's not. The only face cards are the ones with faces on them. That's your king, queen, and jack. Okay. Finally, the last one. How many total cards are in a deck? 52.
52.
Okay. Please clue that in on page 148 so you have it for reference.
I did that to my sister yesterday. I asked her if she wanted to play.
There's some more dogs in our nighttime.
No, you don't. Jojo, Mojo,
Straight. That's a joke.
What's the bench right now?
Oh, Lord.
You know, Jiggle days young goat.
Huh?
Those days of young goat.
Yeah. Oh.
Jumping right out of the house.
Best part of the song, man. Best part of the song.
Right.
Hey, we're jumping to this one next. Okay, we're gonna do 2 at a time and then glue them in.
Oh, that's my good.
So we've got sample space and sample space practice. Okay, so we're gonna do both of them before we glue them in. Running all kinds out of room over here.
I'm gonna listen to this joint right now.
Don't get disappointed. Don't get disappointed. But then the hell me down when he said that jump, bro.
I die every time in English.
Okay, so a sample space can help you identify the possible outcomes. Okay, so some really easy sample spaces. Some really easy sample spaces. How many sides are there to a coin?
2.
2, heads and tails.
Yeah.
That's a sample space.
What they say?
How many options are there? There's 2, heads and tails. Okay, another one. How many sides are there on a die?
6.
6.
6
1,
and
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
10.
That is a sample space. The numbers 1 through 6. Okay, it's everything that is available when you do the event. Okay, so your formal definition for a sample space: the collection of all possible outcomes. In an experiment. Next week, I'm going to sugar you all up because we're going to do an experiment. Oh, yeah, with food. Skittles and M&M's. We bouncing off walls and you go to third block. If your teacher asks you, it wasn't me.
I mean, I got lunch 3rd block.
So, we're going to talk about marginal joint and conditional probability.
I thought you were about to
And
say
it's called a
marshmallows.
sweet task. So we're gonna look at the probability of M&Ms and Skittles in bags. How many of each color there are, and that kind of stuff.
Do you know they all M&Ms at the same place?
Yes.
Did you know that? Did you know that all Skittles are not
She know
rainbows?
that.
Did you know that a Skittle can be an M&M, but an M&M can be a Skittle?
I could have smacked you.
Wait, what?
Okay.
I mean, what?
I know.
A sample space can be used to find the probability of an event occurring. Okay, so if you can write out the sample space, that can help you answer questions about probability. So what we're going to do is we're going to write out the sample space for flipping 2 coins. Okay, so what's the first combination I can have if I flip 2 coins?
Heads and tails.
Heads, tails.
I always get.
I can get heads on the first coin, tails on the second.
I like tails, man.
What else can I get?
I always, never mind.
I heard tails and heads. Okay. I can get heads and heads. And tails and tails.
You can get side too.
Tails and tails.
Yeah.
$4.
So, how many total combinations do I have there? 4 total.
400.
Okay, so now when you do the probability, 4 is always your bottom number. That's the total we get. So, what is the probability of getting 2 tails? How many times can I get 2 tails in that sample space? Once.
1 out of 4.
And it's out of 4 because I have 4 total. What is the probability? What is the probability of getting a heads and a tail?
2 out of 4.
2 out of 4.
4 out of 3.
Okay. 2 out of 4, which reduces down to what? 1/2.
No, it's 2/5. Shut up.
Okay. Questions?
But you can't steal my
There's
phone.
1 equal 3.
Yes, Mom.
Do you love me?
Yes, I love you.
She just
Yeah, I'm one of your top 5 favorite students.
Okay. So, sample space practice.
Let's go on 148.
Okay. I told you we're doing it in 2s, and then I will tell you where you're gluing it in. Okay.
She got feisty.
My dad can't address it.
My fault for being white skin.
So now, we're going to draw out a sample space for spinning this spinner. We're going to spin it twice. How many options do I have the first time I spin it? 5. It can land on red, yellow, green, blue, or purple. When I go to spin it the second time, how many choices do I have again? 5. I don't take a section of the spinner out. The spinner stays the same, so I still have 5. So you can create a chart to make your sample space. Here's all of your options for spin 1 across the top and all of your options for spin 2 down the side. So in this box, I spun a red and then a red. In this box, I've spun red and then a yellow. I've spun red and then green. Red and blue, red and purple. Okay. When you move over into the next column, you've spun yellow first. Okay. So this is yellow, then red, yellow, then yellow, yellow, green, yellow, blue, yellow, purple. Okay. So take a minute and fill out the rest of this chart, please.
Right now.
Wait, did we do yellow?
Yes.
Oh, why G?
Right, GG.
Come on.
For GG.
Yeah, bro.
What about orange?
Like, I feel
Bro.
There's no
it's the way that I feel. So, like,
I want some indigo.
I don't know if it's what I was speaking.
Don't look at what you speak. Ooh, he's speaking after.
What's wrong with speaking like this?
He's gay.
He's not gay. How's he gay? He dead.
Oh no, that's not funny.
That's messed up.
Oh, this money like a free throw.
You know you put VP instead of VP.
How's that at? Whoops.
Thank
He
you.
said, whoops. Heard Jamie on that joint.
Whoops.
He said,
Thanks.
whoops.
It really slipped out though.
Maybe I did that on purpose, Stefan, to see if you catch it.
I feel like I'm ready to go home.
Isn't that what your teachers usually say to us? So that
I'm ready to
Son,
go.
what's your head,
Because
bro?
they're
13
purpose.
uses with I'm a lead.
Now we're gonna do that. Now we're gonna do the
Hey.
game.
So-
Oh. Be Chris.
How many total?
30.
How many total options do I have here?
30.
25.
Sir.
There are 25.
I said 25. I was gonna say.
Okay, think about it. How many options did you tell me I had on the first spin?
3.
5. How many options did you tell me I had on the second spin?
5.
What's 5 times 5?
25. I mean, that's kind of easy.
That's where that total number comes from. I had 5 options and 5 options, and we're actually going to talk about this later today. Multiply them together, that gives me 25 total options. What is the probability that I will spin 2 of the same color?
1/5.
5 out of 25. I have 5 that spin red, red, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, blue, purple, purple. So this is 5 out of 25, which reduces down to 1/5. What is the probability of spinning a red and a blue? 2 out of 25. It doesn't say that red has to come first, blue has to come second. It just needs to be red and blue. So we count red and blue as well as blue and red. So this is 2 out of 25. What is the probability of spinning a green and a purple? 2 out of 25 again. Okay. These now glue in on 149 and 150, please.
The deck of cards has to be went on 140.
147 and 148. You should have the deck on 147, the quiz on 148. Yes, while we're gluing.
No. I don't got a best friend. I got a left.
4 more to go.
We don't care. We got a best friend. Like, our best friend.
No.
It's the thing inside of you. You ain't listening. That's the thing.
Bro.
I do. Well, I think I sing about every song.
I think some cough. Cause you was fucking intro.
I myself. You got it. It comes to be the box.
I'm hungry.
What? I'm not even in your. She said your best friend. That's wrong. Oh. Come on. Why you doing like that? Who got guns? Don't nobody here got them. I'm all they
Bless you.
They give her, she didn't say that.
Oh, who got any more?
She always do that.
We got any more glue? I'm out though. I'm out of Elmo.
That's just really fighting and it's still stuck.
Huh?
That's wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna die. I'm out of Elmo. I'm in the field all alone.
Is you talking about Fortnite?
No.
Drake.
No, I would never play that game. But anyway, bro, like, what you doing? Like, I asked for some glue and you gonna shoot me.
You must be talking about
Speaking of COD, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 coming out soon.
You said what?
I said speaking of COD, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 coming out soon.
They don't take over. I drank my milk. Who got milk? They don't take over.
No life. Hashtag no life.
You gonna get it?
Okay.
Are
you sure about that?
Yeah.
Everybody got some glue?
You talking about scissors? What you talking about? You talking about a glue?
Okay. I need the individual conversations to stop,
Mm-hmm. They need to go on somewhere.
especially coming out of your mouth since you decided you're not doing anything today.
Ooh, on your
You don't need to make a comment then.
I was talking till I died. You got a problem with that?
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
it's Charles Clark here.
Yes, ma'am.
He comes out.
Absolutely.
As soon as he said you got a problem with it, yeah.
Did you do that, Miss Smith?
And that is called
Calm.
telepathy.
Nah.
I said somebody take him.
I thought
Okay.
it was gonna be the office. Low key, man.
So another way that you should have been taught in the 7th or 8th grade on having sample space is called a tree diagram.
I remember that. You ain't got no whole fast.
Okay? A tree diagram can be used to show sample space. So you can use the techniques that I just gave you on sample space, or you can also use a tree diagram. Each branch of the diagram represents one possible outcome. You can then use the tree diagram to figure out the probability. Tree diagrams are useful to help you chart possible outcomes. Let me tell you this does not go away. Even if you come back to see me in discrete. That's what we're doing right now in chapter 15.
For real?
So probability will come back to haunt you.
Weird.
It will never go away.
Unless you pick these.
I'm gonna take discreet.
Are you?
Yes.
Dude,
I'm gonna take debating math.
Bro,
Mr. Warlord just said he's gonna put
Me in a map. You didn't put it in.
Dude, ain't you?
Y'all are going to math 3 next.
huh?
Y'all, who's y'all?
Y'all.
Every person in this classroom has to take math 3
I'm taking about
before
one
you take
again.
a senior math.
I'm taking about one again. I got some to wait before I leave.
We'll have double up on math next year.
I'm not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, then.
I'm calling by his first name before I leave here.
Create a tree diagram to find the sample space of tossing 2 coins. So you always branch off from the beginning. Okay. When I toss this coin, what are my options? What can it land on? Heads or tails?
Tails.
So each one of these branches is an option for your coin to land on. Heads or tails. Okay? So this is your first toss. We now need to branch off into a second toss. Heads or tails. So I can either get a heads on the first toss, heads or tails on the second toss, or I can get a tails on the first toss with heads or tails on the second toss. So what has happened here is I can go heads, heads. That's my first one. Heads, tails is this one. Tails and then heads here, or tails and tails here. Those are my 4 options now. Okay, you start at the beginning and you branch out to give you all of your options. This should look very familiar. This is what we did on your sample space one. This is just a different way to do it. Okay, so again, if you look at this, what's the probability of getting 2 tails? 1 out of 4. I've got 4 solid options at the end, and only one of them is tails. Tails. Yes.
No.
We doing both and then go to there?
Yes. Okay, so we need to do tree diagram practice.
That's a big word problem.
You
You go to order an ice cream sundae, and there's lots of options. Each sundae includes 1 flavor of ice cream and 1 topping. There is strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate ice cream. You also get the choice of a topping from sprinkles, hot fudge, whipped cream, or cookie crumbs. Create a tree diagram to find the sample space of all the different ice cream sundae options. What's the first thing I pick when I go in to pick a sundae?
Ice cream flavor.
Ice cream flavor. I need a flavor. So how many flavors do I have? 3.
36.
I've got strawberry, I've got vanilla,
My fave.
and I've got chocolate.
Chocolate's so good.
Strawberry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Racist.
once you pick an ice cream flavor, what are we picking after that? The toppings. So I can pick strawberry, and I can get sprinkles, hot fudge, whipped cream, or cookie crumbs. Off of the vanilla, I can also get sprinkles, hot fudge, whipped cream, and cookie crumbs. Chocolate, I can add sprinkles, hot fudge, whipped cream, and cookie crumbs.
What about gummy bears?
They don't got that in the store. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're not a Sweet Frog.
Right, we're not there.
This is not Froyo.
You're right, though. I was telling Miss Smith. Doing too much.
Okay. With the tree diagram we just drew, how many total options do I have when I walk into the ice cream store? I have 12. I've got 4 options here, 4 options here, 4 options here. So that's 12 total.
Your car is total.
Okay, so let's find the probabilities at the bottom then. What's the probability that I'm going to get chocolate and sprinkles?
1 out of 12.
1 out of 12. I only have 1 option for chocolate sprinkles, and I have 12 total options. What's the probability that I'm going to get vanilla hot fudge?
1 out of 12.
1 out of 12. And what about strawberry and cookie crumbs?
1 out of 12.
1 out of 12.
1 out of
Dun, dun, dun,
That
dun.
was light work.
151 and 152, ladies and germs.
Oh, she called us.
I called you some germs today.
Excuse me, do you see how many times I use hand sanitizer?
Yeah.
That's why I call my little cousin.
Can you teach my husband how to do that?
It's been a habit. I did it first, but someone like.
Because he got my sister, or my daughter sick now, and I'm dealing with her sickness on top of life.
You know, I had a teacher in 5th grade that made us do hand sanitizer every time we walked into the classroom. I don't know, I had hand sanitizer in the classroom, I just had to get up and every time I walked past it.
Dude, you try to be like Steph Curry. Dude, what the lip?
Was dead.
The lip, my lieutenant, you
Dude.
Huh? Wait. That's a hard to be doing, bro. He's going quick.
Okay, 2 more and we're finished. The next one I want you to grab is the one that says the counting principle. And you're just going to fold this one in half. Put the title on the front.
Please listen off.
It took us what, 5 minutes to do those 2 pages?
Like this.
It doesn't take us long.
And let's see that Grace. Let me see your.
35?
What you talking about?
I ain't getting it.
I didn't get that either.
If we wouldn't have spent so much time at the beginning,
I'll say.
we would have been done.
Who is me? I'm not even impression.
Okay. So while you're folding, I'm going to read this to you and I want you to think about it. Tree diagrams and sample space diagrams. Stop. If you cannot handle it, I will put the test out in the hall, sir. And you can prepare the rest of the period. And then I'll just write you up for skipping. That works too.
Oh.
Tree diagrams and sample space diagrams are great ways to find the number of outcomes possible. But are they all always useful? Think about a situation where a tree diagram or sample space diagram might be too large or difficult to create. Okay? When is it going to be too hard to do a tree diagram or a sample space? Trevor.
How many like
People like Trevor.
how many like insects would be in the rainforest compared to like how many different types of trees or something?
Okay? There are millions, I'm
Exactly.
sure, of different insects in the rainforest. Where are you going to find a paper big enough to list all of that? Okay. Or
At Walmart.
if you're trying to figure out how many different outfits you can wear, and you've got like 17 shirts and 27 pairs of pants, and if you're like some girls, you've got 27 different purses to accent it. Okay? When you have a bunch of stuff, it's too hard to do. So we've come up with something called the counting principle. So if you open this up, it says tree diagrams and sample space diagrams are great ways to find the number of possible outcomes. But the counting principle, so that first blank is counting principle, is a simpler way to find the number of possible outcomes. I don't need you to fill in that blank on the front. I just wanted to talk about it and why tree diagrams and sample spaces sometimes are not useful. Okay.
Is that principal?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Okay, so the counting principle says there are M ways to do one thing
And to do another.
and N ways to do another. So the total outcomes is M times N. So if there are m ways to do one thing and n ways to do another, if you want the total outcomes, you would multiply those two numbers together. M times n. So number 3 says you have 4 different pairs of socks and you have 6 pairs of sneakers. How many different combinations of socks and shoes do you have? So 4 represents your M. You have 4 different ways to pick a pair of socks. So we need to pick socks. And we have 4 ways to do that. And we need to pick shoes or sneakers, however you want to spell it out. And there are 6 ways to do that. When you see this word and, that means you're combining the 2, which means you need to multiply. So this gives me a total of 24. Yes, ma'am.
You have Jesús Cervantes.
I do.
Did he come to Dallas in about 2 minutes?
Okay.
She's too much.
Okay.
Right.
You have 4 ways to do one, 6 ways to do the other, so you have 24 total ways. Okay, that's what I was talking about when we talked about the sample spaces of the spinner. You have 5 ways to spin it the first time, 5 ways to spin it the second time. That's a total of 25 ways. So, flip it. At Carlos Italian Restaurant, you have 6 choices for appetizers and 8 choices for entrees. How many different appetizer and entree choices are there?
48.
48. I've got 6 ways to pick the first thing, 8 ways to pick the second thing, 48 total.
Why you make it so
Look,
complicated?
math.
Smoke trees.
Okay? Caroline has 11 different skirts and 13 tops.
Oh my god.
If she wears a skirt and a top to school each day, how many different outfits can she wear?
143.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I come to Dallas?
You want them both now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We don't have no egg on.
She said Escobar.
Oh, wow. Bye, Emily.
She wants Amelie
Bye,
this way.
Emily.
Okay, so 11 ways to do the first thing, 13 ways to do the second thing, 143 total ways.
What's going on?
Where's that go?
Okay, the last one, and I'm actually going to wait, we're going to do experimental and theoretical on Monday. So we'll skip that last one.
It's
Thank you, Miss
So, last one. Donut shop has 2 different types of donuts, 5 different types of icing, and 4 different toppings. If each donut has 1 type of icing, 1 type of topping, and 1 type of,
40.
I'm sorry, if each donut has 1 icing and 1 topping, how many different donut varieties are there?
40.
40. So even though that there's 3 different things this time, we still multiply them together. 2 times 5 times 4, which gives us 40. That goes in on 153, my friends.
And you said
Let's go.
Yes.